Hi, my name is Mike, and this is Studying with Mike and Tyler. I'm sure some of you are a little bit like me. You've stayed up countless nights staring at your biology notes for the fourth time in a row, hoping that somehow your brain can absorb it before you inevitably fall asleep while still looking at those notes, sacrificing most of your precious time before it's exam time. You eventually awake right before your test, of course, and you are far more anxious than you ever could have imagined. You are not prepared for this test. After waiting for those grades to finally come back, you are disappointed but not surprised that it was all gibberish and you did awfully. Luckily, Tyler and I are here to walk you through a couple of methods that are proven by science to help you in recalling at test time. We'll start with elaboration. Elaboration is defined as meaning-enhancing additions, constructions, or generations that improve one's memory for what is being learned. Seems pretty broad, right? It is. It's pretty personal to everyone. There's many strategies for elaboration, and they include mnemonic devices, note-taking, summarizing, paraphrasing, analogies, and just asking questions in general about what you're learning. There's many more strategies, but we're only going to cover 3 in this video. Those include mnemonic devices, analogies, and asking questions. Let's start with mnemonic devices. Mnemonic devices are defined as using elaborative encoding, retrieval clues, and imagery to help enhance recall. Let's try it with the taxonomic rankings since we're focusing on biology. If you can remember them, they are kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species, and variety. It's pretty tough to remember all of them, especially in order, but if you take note of the first letter of each of them, we can use that order to create a mnemonic device. Let's give it a try. We'll do kings play cards on fairly good soft velvet. By creating a memorable sentence using the same first letters of all of the taxonomic rankings, you can kind of create a picture in your head. Here, I drew one for you. There's a king playing cards on his fairly good soft velvet. Now, if you can remember the order of the king playing cards, you'll also be able to remember the order of the taxonomic rankings, which is pretty difficult for me at least. All right, we'll send him down into the corner and we'll move on to analogies. So analogies are defined as a comparison between 2 things, typically for explanation or clarification purposes. It's also defined as a correspondence or partial similarity. So let's take the 2 main categories of plants as our example. Angiosperms are plants that have flowers and produce seeds enclosed within a carpel, while gymnosperms are a plant that has seeds unprotected by an ovary or fruit. So to put it simply, angiosperms have fruits and flowers, while gymnosperms do not. They have cones or something similar. So luckily, if you can remember one of them, you can infer what the other one is just based on process of elimination, since there's only 2 of them. So let's take angiosperms. When we look at angiosperm and we can see that the first 3 letters are A and G, we can easily pick a more familiar word to link that to. So I picked angel. Now that we can link angiosperm to angel just based on the first 3 letters, we can imagine a beautiful angel. And in order to further drive home the point that angiosperms have flowers or fruits, we can also imagine the angel holding a beautiful vase of flowers. So now this should help you next time you see angiosperms and gymnosperms to remember that angiosperms bear flowers. Moving on to asking questions. Asking questions seems especially broad, and we're going to actually narrow it down a little bit by defining it as elaborative interrogation. This is known as the practice of asking why or how when confronted with new information and then attempting to explain it in known terms to you. So let's say you are walking out of your intro to physics class and you just learned about gravity. It was great. So on your walk home, you're just enjoying the views, taking it all in, and you notice the most beautiful bird in the world. And you're thinking to yourself, I just learned about gravity. How is that bird flying through the air? Then you think a little bit more and you remember airplanes. Airplanes also fly through the air, but you can't fly. Why is that? It's okay to speculate. You can walk all the way home and try to figure out the answers to these questions just based on whatever comes to your head. But it's also very important that once you do get home to try to seek out accurate answers to the questions that you had. You don't want to accidentally mislead yourself by thinking up a solution that does make sense to you but perhaps is incorrect. So just hop online. It's tricky to look for credible information online without any practice, so give it a shot and try to find credible answers to the questions that you have. And that's it for elaboration. We'll move on to spacing with Tyler.
I will now be taking you through space studying in biology. Ultimately, the idea for space studying is to study the information across multiple study sessions. An example of this is to say if you have an exam on a Wednesday, the idea is to start studying earlier rather than later. Start studying a little bit of the information each day, even if it's a week or 2 weeks before the exam. It can be as easy as studying the material 30 minutes each day, rather you started a week before or 2 weeks before. Take the Calvin cycle, for example. You could simply start by studying carbon fixation, the first stage, and then reduction, and then finally regeneration of the starting molecules. After you have finally studied all of them separately, you can combine them and say study the first stage with the second stage and the second stage with the third stage. What this does is it forces your mind to retrieve the information over and over again. Research shows that doing this leads to more long-term memory of the material, also has proven kids to go into exams with more confidence, leading to thinking clearer and with a lot less second guessing. What we don't want to do is wait until the last night before the exam. We all know the good old cramming method. Say you have the exam on Wednesday, you wait until the last minute to study. Now you're sitting there the night before studying all your material instead of spreading the time out. This does not allow time to force your brain to retrieve the information and create the long-term memory of the material. Also, this can lead to no sleep, uncertainty of the information, and a lot of second guessing of yourself. Ideally, you want to be sure to combine spacing with other learning strategies. Elaboration is a good one. During each study session, take time to elaborate a little bit of the information each time. Then on the last day, you can go through it all and remember what you broke apart. Hopefully, all this information can help you for the next time you sit down for your exam and start studying. These two ways of studying are both very effective and when used properly can lead to a happier and less stressful learning experience.